Greetings and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Conflicted Space Episode 8. I, of course, am Wrath, and let's get into it. Now, in a few seconds, you're going to see the video for the various factions deploying their individual units for this turn, which is simply they're deploying their first units to their bases and setting up their construction facilities. So like here you see Ares is deploying a vehicle. But I wanted to address an issue that I've been having, which is going to force me to actually change the way I'm doing these episodes, because there's been a lot of difficulty in developing all of the episodes in a reasonable time frame. And so I've decided to make a change, and that change is that I'm going to start dividing each of the episodes so that each one will handle one particular group at a time. So it will turn into a sort of strategic gameplay of a turn-based strategy game, in that each group will have a turn, and then that will consist of one game turn for the group. And so with that in mind, I've started to develop a set of rules to help sort of keep it fair and keep things going, and it should help me get videos produced at a more reasonable pace, because the problem I had was, for each video that I had to do, I had to design 3 different ships and 3 different mission plans, and test all of the vehicles, make sure that they were capable of engaging in the missions and potentially successfully completing them. And that led to a lot of development time. That, along with increased work schedule, has made it really difficult. So in order to combat that, I did decide to switch to the turn-based, as I said, and I decided that I would do each one in a set of phases. So each turn consists of 3 phases. So as the group develops their turn, they'll have 3 phases to their turn. The first of these phases, of course, will be a deployment phase, in which they'll get to basically launch one vehicle in the normal way that you would launch a vehicle from in any Kerbal Space Program game. That being going into the VAB and saying, okay, I want to launch this vehicle, and here's where I want to launch it with curve inside, and so on and so forth. However, that doesn't mean that that's the only vehicle that they can get launched. As you can see with Ares here, they're setting up a series of launch pads, because I do have extraplanetary launch pads in the game, and I want to make use of that to a fairly large degree. So the way it'll work is that any vehicles, they can launch one vehicle from the normal method. Ooh, pardon me, burped a little bit there. But they can also launch any vehicles that they have constructed at their bases using the extraplanetary launch pads. Once that's completed, they get to go into what I'm basically referring to as the mission phase. And this is the point in time where they get to put together whatever actions they're going to take. Launching rockets, flying bombing missions, going out and acquiring resources for them to use in building, or just running supplies, because the game is going to be very logistics based, and so it's going to require that they take the time to really develop their infrastructure. And that may make the first few turns kind of boring, but hopefully it will allow us to make for some interesting gameplay later down the line. And I've really been thinking of this as kind of like the same concept that if you go and look at, like, Beos Human has a series called, I think it's called Solar Nations, that he's just restarted, actually, which I'm really happy to hear about. But it is basically the idea of a slow progression into spacefaring and the eventual conflict between colonies and their home world. But in this case, the conflict is not going to be simply, planet to planet. It's going to be a conflict across all orbital bodies, where they'll be fighting on pretty much all fronts. So there could be battle on the moon, as well as on Kerbin, as well as on Lathe. Just pretty much anywhere there could be conflict over resources and just getting everything done. With that aside, the third and final phase for each group will be the construction phase, where they can prepare for their next turn by setting up what is going to be constructed on their bases. Basically their launch pads here. And that is the sort of final straw in the whole process here. This means that the game is going to be very much a logistics game, because maintaining a good supply line to be able to keep producing war materials for the battle is going to become a major necessity for each of the groups, and which is what I really want it to be, because I want these, there to be sort of a buildup of arms before the start of really an open conflict. With that said, like I said, I hope that this will allow me to make everything run a little bit more smoothly, so that I can get more episodes out at a faster pace and be able to provide you guys with enjoyable content at a reasonable speed. So anyway, that's really what I'm going for with this, and so you're going to see an increase of videos very soon. There is going to be a delay, because I am picking up a copy of Fallout 4 this weekend, and of course I'm going to record my play with that as part of another series. I was originally going to do the entire Fallout catalog, because I have them all. There was a sale on Steam, and that was too good of an offer to pass up. So I may be revisiting that in the future, but I don't know that I will be able to do that 100%. But we'll see what the future holds. Anyway, I do want to get your opinions on this, and I've actually gone through and cut some of the content of each of these videos, because the total length was pretty big, and I wanted to try and keep things down, but I cut it after recording, so I can't speak specifically to any of what's going on in the videos right now. But I hope that everybody is enjoying this series, because I've really been enjoying creating it, with the sort of storytelling of the rise of these disparate factions within the Kerbal Space industry. But I don't want to rush things and cause the videos to just become a quick rollout into battle. I really want to develop everything at sort of a reasonable pace. So with that said, let's go ahead and go over everything that is going on in this turn. So with each of the groups, I decided that their first turn would be to deploy a some form of construction vehicle. In the case of Ares, to start with, they deployed a fully loaded construction platform, but it has no mining capabilities. It is purely loaded down with fuel, it has some defenses, and it is just loaded to the gills with, like, I think it's over 100 tons of rocket parts to allow it to supply the construction of additional units. Whereas the Drax organization, and let me back up a little bit here, I've also tried to preserve sort of like a design theme with each of the groups. So you'll see that the Ares Corporation, they favor tracked vehicles more than anything else. They feel that tracked vehicles are the best way to go, and so that you'll see that most of their vehicles, in just about every case, use the tracks from I think it's Kerbal Foundries, whereas Drax favors wheeled vehicles. But with that aside, the shape and design and feel of them, I've really been going for some uniqueness to each of them. It's not entirely successful because some of the designs do sort of overlap, and you'll see, like, towards the end of the video, you'll see that the Hexadyne vehicle actually bears a striking resemblance to the vehicle that the Ares group deployed, and that was mostly because just making a big square box like that was the most reasonable design, but I did make it substantially different enough that it is its own sort of design, and it has its own eccentricities, I would say. Whereas the Ares vehicles are very boxy, the Drax vehicles are very long and tend to be sort of a narrow, long vehicle rather than a squared off, blocky vehicle that you normally would see from Ares. So with that, I'm hoping that you guys are enjoying this, as I said before, and I'm hoping that I can get these out at a much greater pace so that we can start moving things along. But we'll see what the future holds. In the meantime, I would like to again extend an invitation to those who are willing to join in this process. Now, that can take the form of either, preferably I'd like people who are capable of recording their sessions, so that so that I don't have to do all the work, basically, is really what it comes down to. Is I don't want to have to create and design additional content for everybody. So I'm opening it up for people to be able to take over some of the design and execution of the vehicles. So, but yeah, I would definitely welcome anybody that would like to join. If you're not capable of recording, then I'm more than willing to work out something with someone who's prospectively going to be joining the process, but that would definitely be a case-by-case basis, because it would be one of those deals where you would if you couldn't do the recordings, then you'd get basically like a time frame to do a turn, either taking over one of the corporations or adding your own corporation into the mix. But you would basically have to go through and take the time to do all those, send me back the persistent file and maybe the craft files that you had used, and then I would basically just react to whatever actions you had taken. But again, that's a case-by-case basis. I'd much prefer individuals that can record it, and if you don't have your own YouTube channel, or you've never done the YouTubing thing, that's all right. I'm really new to the whole process myself, but I'm definitely willing to provide what little assistance I can in terms of helping give ideas, or if you don't have a channel of your own, I'm more than willing to take the time out of my schedule to post the videos up for you on my channel. I know that that's kind of lame, but I would still like to be able to put them all together in a playlist so somebody can watch all the turns progressing. I have actually extended invitations to a couple of YouTubers. Actually, I've extended an invitation to a number of YouTube personalities, some of them actually very famous, but in most cases I've been turned down because, for the most part, I'm a nobody. I think I have, like, at this time, I think I have 3 subscribers, and like 2 of them are my kids, so they don't actually count. So in reality, I have like 1 subscriber, which is cool. It's fine. I mean, I'm not really doing it for the subscribers. I would love for everybody that is interested to subscribe and give me some likes for the videos so I know what content you're enjoying. But I primarily am doing it for my own enjoyment and sharing a fun story with other people. So with that said, I think I'm going to wrap this video up and just try and cover a couple other things with just basic channel business, which is, obviously I'm going to be doing some recordings for Fallout 4. And if, I had actually stopped my Fallout Complete Collection series because I got about 10 episodes in, and I looked back at the viewing history and realized that nobody cared. Nobody wanted to watch those videos. They weren't getting any traffic at all, and so I was kind of like, whatever. So, and I've had a couple of series that have gone that road. I think I had a series on Xenonauts that I had started, and I did about 4 or 5 episodes and realized that nobody really cared. Nobody wanted to watch it. So I sort of put it aside and moved on. I do have a couple of like full game collections that I've been really interested in doing. I have like the full collection of the Witcher games, and I've wanted to do a series on those, going through all 3 games. But again, I just haven't really been able to focus enough, and the Kerbal Space Program series is really taking up my primary focus at this point. But if there is anybody that would like to see me playing through those, I'd be more than willing to either continue my complete Fallout series, or do a new series on one of the other sets of games that I have. But I mean, I would like some input back on that before I commit to the large amount of time that it will take to get those videos regularly produced. But anyway, that pretty much wraps us up. Please, like and subscribe, because leave comments, because the feedback really does help me try to build a game experience that is enjoyable for everybody, or at least enjoyable for the people who are actually watching my videos, which right now is pretty much the crickets and the cats. But go ahead and like and subscribe again. I'm repeating myself now because I'm a complete idiot. But in the future, I really hope to. I'm not really interested in becoming like super famous or anything, but I do want to know that the work that I'm doing is being enjoyed, because that's really where I get my joy out of this, is to have craft stories or craft experiences that other people enjoy watching. And otherwise, I'd just be playing for my own benefit and wouldn't need to record it. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this session. Please look forward to individual missions. I'm not sure which faction I'm going to do first, but once I get them set up in an order, I'm pretty much going to try and stick with that order going forward. I think probably I'm going to do Drax first, because they're I've sort of been thinking of them as my antagonistic group, so they'll probably make the first moves going forward, although I may do Ares as well, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm Wrath, and I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I look forward to crafting the next one. And until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.